Isaac told the imprisoned man to tell him if the man's family was caught. If so, he will do what he can to help, but that all hinges on the man's cooperation. Isaac knew he would be a fool if he believed the man's family was not taken as hostage. How else would a man be able to say brazenly in the face of death, "I'm innocent"? If you doubt that, then kill me. After some contemplation, the man conceded and begged Isaac to save his family. He had no idea that things would turn out this way. The imprisoned man told Isaac, 7 years ago, someone came looking for him. That person was the one who bought the drug, helped the imprisoned man smuggle the drug. After the ordeal, the imprisoned man went into hiding but received a note saying that if he wanted to save his family, he better go back to the missions. The mission this time was for Isaac to catch him. The imprisoned man said, King Bertrand told him to pass this message to Isaac Diaz. If you want to protect the princess and your children, stop what you're doing immediately. If Isaac does not stop, King Bertrand cannot guarantee the safety of his family. So stop digging into things. After the imprisoned man relayed this message, he begged Isaac to vent Isaac's anger on him and kill him. The man apologized to what happened to Isaac's father. Just think of him as the culprit and kill him. Stop investigating. Doesn't Isaac have a family to protect? So does he. If Isaac continues to investigate, it will put his family into danger too. What crime has his children committed to deserve this? Isaac thought, nothing's quite as effective as a guilt trip. What evil among evils? The butler asked if he should let the other members know. Isaac told him no. The enemy still doesn't know that they re an organization. Don't tell the members since he was the only one enemy is after. The butler said nervously, the young master and lady are in danger, even the princess. Isaac told the butler, Jillian, that he will not let his family get hurt, ever again. With that, he turned around and left the cell room. He told Jillian to postpone the meeting and have more guards stationed around the villa. Jillian asked what to do with the smuggler. Isaac told him to get rid of the smuggler. He was sure that the smuggler was tailed anyway. There are 2 shadows behind the king. One is the Margrave, stationed on the border. The other is those who guard him and follow his most confidential orders. They surround the king, hidden and unseen. King Benjamin never made much use of them, but Bertrand is a different story. Even if Isaac lets the smuggler go, he will die anyway. Isaac told Jillian to notify him when Jillian is ready to dispose the body. 3 years ago, when he investigated without Estella knowing, he started to be convinced that Bertrand was the culprit. But he couldn't tell Estella. Back then and now, Bertrand has been like a father to her, and a great source of strength. Even if he has no love for Estella, he still wanted to be considerate. He just needed to get things together, take the kids and leave. But Estella continues to try to create a place for herself with them. He just doesn't understand. Being reminded of Estella with the children, his resolve was shaken, but he reminded himself again that the only people he needed to protect right now are Lou and Lucy. At night, in the bedchamber, Estelle thought to herself nervously she was glad that they were sticking to their word and slept in the same room every night. But why was Isaac laying on the bed like that? And why was he looking at her like that too? Unable to stand it anymore, she asked why was he staring at her like that? Isaac smiled and said he should be the one asking her that question. Estella blushed and turned around quickly, stuttering. She meant that his chest was totally exposed, and he's lying down like that, so of course it would draw her attention. Isaac pondered to himself if he should bring up Bertrand. Not that he had any plans on telling her the truth about him, because his consideration for her can also double as his revenge. He hoped that she would realize it herself and feel regret. He asked Estella what kind of person King Bertrand is. Estella stated that he is a good person. He treated her like his own daughter ever since she was born. He takes care of her even now, and Lily treats her like a real sister, too. Isaac asked what makes him a good person. She reminisced that she almost died once. A passing carriage got caught in a landslide and fell to the bottom of a cliff. It was extremely dangerous, so much that anyone who tried to rescue her would be in danger. Her carriage started to tilt. The driver couldn't get to her, but her godfather cleared away all the dirt covering the carriage away, rocks and all, dug through the dirt inside the carriage and pulled her out. He was covered in blood, But the second he saw her, he hugged her and started to calm her down. That isn't the sort of thing anyone can fake. After her godfather saved her, the rest of the landslide came down and he hurt his leg. That's why he has a limp, because he saved her. If he hadn't saved her, she would have died, or it would have been her who ended up with a limp. But even while he was being treated for his injuries, all he did was worry about her. Isaac concluded that he's not just a second father, he saved her life. He phrased his question wrong. Thus, he asked, if she knew he betrayed her, how would she feel? Estella replied it would hurt her a lot, unbearably so. In hindsight, she thought he must be talking about her. Isaac got up and leaned in closer to Estella. He lifted up her chin and called, "Honey." She answered him, "Yes." He leaned in even closer, almost touching her face, and told her not to push herself too hard. She was caught off guard and questioned what he meant. He told her everything in general. After saying that to her, he got up and left the bedroom, leaving her confused. Outside by the fountain, Isaac pondered endlessly to himself, why is it that every time he looks at Estella, his plans seem to go wrong? Don't push yourself too hard? What did he even mean by that? With her getting close to the kids, reopening the old investigation, was she trying to make herself look good? He wanted her to realize, after she left everything behind, that she realized her godfather was actually the enemy of her father and husband. If Bertrand was coming down, then he wanted her to go down with Bertrand. So, just a little. But the truth was he hoped she would regret her decision very much. So why does he feel so uncomfortable now? Was it because she's so bright now? Estella called out to Isaac, interrupting his thoughts. She grabbed onto him and told him to wait. He can be so discouraging sometimes, but she won't lose heart so easily. For 6 years, she was in love with him. 6 whole years. Does he know how hard that was? Being in love, having one-sided feelings, not just anyone can do it. Especially not a girl like her, who's perfect in every way. Does he know how many men lined up for a chance with her? But she turned them all away. All she could do was chase after him. Isaac was surprised that he was the one she cased. She pointed her finger at him and confirmed, "Yeah, you." Does he know how much it takes to harbor one-sided feelings for 6 years? She doubted it. Not many people do. No one wants to spend 6 years in love without any hope. At the end, she told him not to underestimate how long she can cling on to him. She is like a leech. A leech? He asked. Estella answered, "That's right, a leech." So he can try all he wants to discourage her. She doesn't care. Does he know who she is? She is Estella, who spent 6 years pining after someone with a fiancé. She was pining after him, Isaac, and he was too much of an idiot. He never even realized. So he doesn't want her to push herself too much? She shouted. Isaac tried to calm her down and asked her to lower her voice. She retorted, letting them all hear her. Let every last maid and servant in the house. From now on, she is planning to do everything she can to stick to him. And if he doesn't like it, then just keep pushing her away. Because either way, she is going to keep trying. Isaac called out, "Honey." But Estella continues on with her tantrum. Just try to get her away. She is throwing away her shame anyways. She knew she made many mistakes. She knew he hated her, but it's not fair. She hated herself too. Why did things have to turn out this way? He told her he would give her a chance, and yet, before she could even start, he said he'd given up. That he couldn't do it this time. And even told her to not try too hard. She is not giving up. This is where she is after 6 years of unrequited love. Being there right now is like a miracle to her, a gift from God. A gift from God? He questioned. She told him not to look down on the love of a 19 years old. He can keep trying to discourage her, but he can just watch her. He and the kids too. Just watch. She is serious, and because he will be the one clinging onto her soon. Estella came like the wind, left the torrent storm, and off she went, leaving Isaac momentarily dumbfounded. He crouched down and muttered, "She sounded just like she did back then." He never knew what to react when she got like this. Next day, she woke up and Isaac was already gone. But Estella could hear the kids playing with Isaac outside. She got up to look through the large window and saw herself talking happily with Isaac. He was also smiling at her. She thought she must be dreaming. Isaac would never smile sweetly at her like that. It was a weird dream to her for sure. Suddenly, a voice asked her if it's nice. Estella turned around and saw that it was her. The 26 years older. The 26 years old Estella stated, "It must be nice to see them so happy." The young 19-year-old Estella asked if she, the 26 years older, went back in time, didn't she? If not, why was the 19 years old Estella be brought there? Through the reflection in the mirror, the 26 years old Estella stated, "That's the future they both hope for, isn't it?" The young Estella questioned, why did the 26 years old bring the younger her to the future? And where is the 26-year-old Estella? What is she doing while the younger her is there in the future? The 26-year-old Estella told the 19-year-old Estella to think about it carefully. Try to remember what she is and why she is there. What? The 19 years Estella questioned. What she, the 26-year Estella, and what the girl in the window is. The 19-year Estella asked why can't the future her just tell her? Why does she have to figure it all out herself? The 26-year Estella stated because she regretted not being able to do that herself. You regretted it? Asked the young Estella. The older Estella told the younger her not to forget. Two of the same person cannot exist in one world. Two of the same person cannot exist. The young Estella asked what is she talking about? The older Estella replied, because I'm you, and you are me. This isn't an issue of time. Try to remember. She tapped something on the young Estella. The things the young Estella need to remember. The young Estella took the item from her future self and asked what was she supposed to remember. How was she supposed to know what happened to the future her? She came from the past. Very well. The older Estella grabbed the young Estella's shoulder and pushed her while telling the young Estella to try to find out more about the 26-year-older. Estella fell into the water and bolted up from the bed sweating, panicking. Nana was opening the curtains and was glad that she was finally up. Nana asked if she had to start waking up Estella at this age. Lord Isaac and the children are eating together right now. If she gets dressed right away, she should be able to join. Hearing no response, Nana asked if she is not feeling well. Has she broken out into a cold sweat? Estella forced a smile and told Nana that she is all right. She just had a bit of an intense dream. Nana asked if she would like some water. She seemed parched. After sipping the water, she asked Nana if Nana believed in dreams. Some people say dreams are prophetic. Nana stated, yes. Others say they're just silly dreams, but she believes there's plenty of cause to believe in them. This surprised Estella, thus she asked why. Nana answered because of the dreams the late queen had while she was pregnant with her. Nana said Her Highness had one recurring dream during that time. Although they were not good dreams, and Her Majesty didn't like them. Estella asked what kind of dreams. Nana elaborated. Her Majesty was always speaking, though she knew she would die an early death. That once she gave birth to Estella, she would pass away. But she didn't seem afraid. Estella asked if Nana knows what her mother dreamed about. Nana stated Her Highness said that in her dreams, she saw a woman who looked just like her. The woman told her when the princess is born, you will die. But do not fear, and do not be sad. So Her Highness had told everyone that between her and her child, one had to die, and the child must be saved. Estella thought to herself that no one had told this part about her mother. Nana thought she told Estella last time when Estella asked something about dreams. But before Nana could bring up the incident from her memories, she handed the towel and told Estella to wash up and have breakfast. Estella washed up to meet her family. The twins waved happily, greeting their mama. Isaac told Lucy to not swing the fork and knife around like that or she might hurt someone. Estella looked at the food in front of her and does not feel like eating. She was not sure because of her dream or what. Isaac cleaned Lucy's face with a napkin. As soon as Isaac was done, Lucy turned to Estella and asked, Mama, are you okay? Mama, don't get sick. Estella told her child that she is not sick, but thanked Lucy for worrying about Mama. The twins looked enlightened and then they whispered to themselves, leaving the parents confused. Lucy got down from her chair, walked up to Estella and tugged her dress. Estella asked Lucy what is wrong. She leaned down so Lucy could whisper to her. Lucy whispered to Estella if it's time for their operation. Does Mama want her and Lou to be Cupid? Which Estella found comical how it was being asked. She whispered back to Lucy and said not right now. In a little bit. They can help her out when she tell them. Lucy was ecstatic. After breakfast, Estella was in her work-study room, standing in front of the large glass window. Breakfast went smoothly thanks to the kids. Maybe that dream was just too on point, and it made her uncomfortable. It sounded like her mother's dream too. She turned around and observed the room. The room looked like a regular office to her. Estella looked through some of the documents. The servants' pay slips, and even her inheritance. The future her was pretty meticulous. She did not see anything unusual. So what does the future her mean when the future her said, try to find out more about the future? Estella let out a big sigh and complained. The future her could have just told her straightforwardly. Seriously. She should have grabbed her future self by the hair the second she saw her future self. But she didn't think to at that moment. The future her seemed completely different from the her now. She was elegant, strong, but above all, there was a tired look in her eyes. When the future her looked out that window of happiness, she felt jealous, but looked calm. All in all, the current Estella only knew that there are so many things she didn't know. Someone knocked on the door, directing Estella's attention. Isaac leaned casually and stated that this is the first time he'd seen her leave the door to the study open. From Isaac's point of view, when he saw Estella walk into the dining room with that sour look on her face, his stomach dropped. It was like things went back to the way they were before. He thought he would have to go back to walking on eggshells all the time. But she was kind to the children throughout the whole meal. Still, it was like her mind was somewhere else. When she went to the study room, he overheard mumbling about something. She was so lost in thought that he thought she would give herself wrinkles. The kid attempted to barge into the study, but Isaac held them back. He hushed them, telling them that Mama doesn't look very happy right now. Lou asked if Mama is sick. Isaac told them that Mama is not. Mama already told them Mama was all right. Lou pointed to her brow and said, then why does Mama look upset? Isaac reasoned that Mama was just thinking. Then why is Mama making that face? Lou continued to probe. Isaac explained that their Mama always makes that face when she's thinking deeply about something. He suggested that they play a game. The game is they stay quiet until their mother notices them. So from now on, anyone who talks in a loud voice loses. Does that sound fun? The twin looked at each other sparkly and nodded. Isaac felt relieved the game worked. He wondered what Estella could be thinking about that she did not even notice them. She's usually so sensitive to even the slightest disturbance. He was curious who Estella wanted to grab by the hair. But she looked so serious. It must be a big source of stress. He always loved it when she looked at him with a loving expression. When she looked like she was staring off far into the distance, and as soon as she noticed him, she greeted him lovingly. Due to a sneak attack sneeze that he couldn't help, he knocked on the door at the same time to attract her attention. Estella asked if there was something Isaac needed. It's unusual for him to go looking for her. Lucy jumped out and shouted cheerfully, Mama, we're here to pick you up. Estella looked shocked that the children were there too. They care so good at being quiet sometimes. Lucy asked her Mama to play with them. Lou said shyly that he wanted to go play house or with the dolls in the glass house. Estella was disappointed. She should have known better that Isaac would never go looking for her for anything. She stood up and told the kids they all can go play, which instantly earned loving hugs from the children. Isaac froze watching this scene while his wife and kids walked away. Lucy turned around and told her papa to hurry and go. Isaac asked them if they are making their own secret club now, as he followed them. In the greenhouse, Lucy whispered in her mama's ears. Lou also had his turn to whisper the secret plan to his mama's ear. Isaac sat there, crossing his arms, looking at his wife and children, continuing to whisper among themselves. He cannot even break into the conversation. Eventually, Isaac was fed up and sighed. He was just about to tell them to play by themselves, but Lucy cut him off and suggested nervously that they play house. Lou chimed in flusteredly, that's a great idea, Lucy. Let's go make some food. Lucy nodded robotically. The children ran off. Lou asked Lucy why don't they play store? Lucy readily agreed as she turned around to her parents to wait. Don't go anywhere. Once the kids ran off a distance, they high-fived each other for doing a great job. Estella was left in the dust thinking the kids were just going to leave her alone with Isaac. She turned to Isaac nervously. After sharing an awkward moment, Isaac cleared his throat. Estella explained about Lucy jumping up like that. She didn't tell her to do that. Isaac replied he knows. Lucy has always been quick to catch on to things. He then asked her, she doesn't look so good. Did he have trouble sleeping? Although he hoped she slept well considering she kicked all of the blankets off the bed. Estella coughed shyly and told him she slept fine. She can usually sleep well anywhere, which brought back the past where he knocked on the door asking if she was having trouble sleeping again. And Estella can be heard yelling through the door her head was killing her, and he should leave her alone. But this time she answered him nicely. He told her he was glad to hear she slept well, because she usually had pretty bad insomnia. Estella was startled. She had insomnia? Isaac replied yes. Ever since she gave birth to the twins, she tried everything, even incense, but nothing helped. Estella thought, Nana always told her she never cried. And always slept soundly ever since she was a baby. Isaac continued on that he understood. It must be exhausting for her. Due to her insomnia, and the kids are always being noisy, and on top of that, she had stress from her father's condition. Not only that, their relationship was rocky. She might hate being there. She might wish she had someone else by her side. That's what he always thought. Estella tightened her hands and told herself she was not that type of person. Even the future her she saw in her dreams. The future her did not look at her like she hated her. Estella told Isaac to stop thinking about it that way, because he was wrong. He didn't understand, he simply just gave up. He was avoiding his own pain. The scene changed to the four of them playing. Estella praised her children for doing such a good job. Lucy poured dirt tea to Estella and asked how she is liking her tea. Estella replied, it was delicious. The children chuckled bashfully while Lucy told her parents they looked so cute together and had a lovely time. Estella commented, her children never left the palace, so where did they learn to talk like that? He told her they did take the kids out once before. She took them to a restaurant, and they've been copying the way of the waitress spoke ever since. Estella suggested they should all go out and take them downtown sometimes. They can even take the children to see a show at the theater. Isaac asked if she pitied the children. She said it's not pity, more like she felt sorry for them. Isaac told her it's all right. She does not need to feel sorry or guilty. They did not get enough time with their mother, but they did spend that time with him. They've never gone out without love. The children did just fine with him up until now. And they will be fine moving forward, too. Estella asked nervously, why was he acting like she would not be part of it? It's like he is cutting her out again. That hurts her too. Isaac explained he was not trying to hurt or make her feel bad. She had been working to get closer to the children and to reconcile with him. But what if the original Estella comes back someday and she is sent to her own time? The current Estella is honest and forthcoming with her love. She doesn't hesitate to let the kids see that. But the Estella he remembers is different. She's sharp, tough, uninterested in anything. Sometimes she would look at Isaac and the kids like she didn't recognize them. If the day comes that this happy little dream shatters to pieces, the day everything returns to the way it used to be. If that day comes, the children will be the ones who are hurt the most. Isaac told Estella he doesn't want the kids to get hurt if their mother returns to the cold-hearted woman she used to be. He can take care of them on his own. While listening to Isaac, Estella loathed the future her. Why? Why did the future her have to do those things? Maybe she thought there was no way the man that loved her could ever be hurt by her? But Isaac would hide any pain he felt if it were for the sake of his children. The more she thought, she couldn't keep her emotions contained. She started crying. She told Isaac all she can do is say I'm sorry. She had no idea why she came to the future. All she'd been able to say is I love you. But even that phrase hurt him. While Estella was self-loathing, Isaac had his own thoughts. Estella used to be annoyed at him, and now she's crying because of him. He knew he was being petty, taking things out on Estella when she doesn't even know what's going on right now. But the Estella now isn't the Estella who refused to listen to him. This is the Estella who will hear him out. The children were playing house a distance away. Lucy praised that they did a good job. She bet Mama and Papa are having tons of fun together right now. Lou readily agreed as always. She heard something from her parents' direction. She turned her head to glance at the direction and dashed straight towards them. Lucy asked her papa if he made Mama cry. While Lou shouted, "No, Mama, don't cry." Lucy pounded on Isaac and cried, "Papa, no. We left you two alone on purpose. Papa, I cannot believe you." Both the children consoled their mama. At the dining table, Estella and Isaac were still eating, with warmth and happiness in their eyes. The children really wore themselves out today. All the fuss earlier and then everything with apologizing to Isaac. Flashback to earlier, Lucy told Estella, "Papa and them already made up, so Mama has to make up with Papa too." Lucy powered up and told them to kiss and make it all better. Huh? Both Mama and Papa were still trying to make sense of what their daughter just said. Lucy asked what they were waiting for. They glanced at each other, nervously. Thinking back to earlier, Estella chuckled. Nana came by and saw the two children knocked out and told them to go to bed. Isaac and Estella each held a child and stated they will take the children to bed so Nana can go get some rest. Watching their retreating back, Nana muttered to herself, "It's been a long time since she last saw them look like that." In the children's bedroom, Estella and Isaac tucked the children to bed. Lucy asked Mama to pat her head like how Mama used to do all the time. Briefly shocked by the statement, but came back around quickly, Estella smiled and gently patted Lucy's head. While patting her daughter's head, Estella questioned whether she used to pat her head like this all the time. But Isaac clearly said that the future her didn't have any interest in the kids. It was until after Lucy fell asleep that Estella came out of their room, but Isaac was still waiting outside the door. She thought he already went back to their bedroom. She asked if there is something you want to talk about. She thought there might be something he couldn't say in front of the children. Estella stated she didn't think things with the kids would get that far out of hand, referring to earlier when she cried. Isaac told her he wasn't waiting so he could scold her. She asked him, "Then what is it?" Isaac told her to go, and he took the lead. Estella asked Isaac how come he didn't leave her. He froze and turned around to look at her. She reasoned. She guessed it probably sounded strange for her to ask this, but frankly, she knew what the future her is like. She neglected her family, and she might have had an affair. All she did was hurt him, but she was the one who asked for a divorce. Why didn't he leave, even though she was treating him like that? Was it because she was their mother? And he wanted them to be raised by their biological mother, or... Isaac interrupted Estella. That wasn't the reason. It was because there was something he couldn't let go. Something she said to him in the past. He couldn't let it go, so he couldn't leave her. Isaac thought of that time in the past. She asked him, does he promise to always trust her? Always wait for her? She hoped he would. She knew he would come back someday, because she loves him so much. Because she asked him to wait, so he'll trust her and wait. Estella asked him what did she said to him, to have affected him so strongly and made him stay in this estate? Isaac told her. She asked him if he could always trust her and always wait for her, no matter what. Because she loves him that much. That was it. It wasn't particularly that special, but to him, it meant the world. But it was all right now since it was no longer special. Estella wanted to continue saying something. Isaac told her that she must be tired. They should go back now and walk away first. Isaac sighed. How did he end up telling her all that? Estella grabbed his hand and told him to wait. Isaac asked what she is doing. Estella explained that she is not good with words, and she grew up in a world where no matter how bad she was at asking for it, all she had to do was say the word and get everything she needed. Isn't he curious? Because she is. And it's driving her crazy. She loves him so much that she even said those things to him. She had a crush on him for 6 years, and it took less than 4 years just for her to change her mind. Didn't he find it odd? Isaac replied, he does. That's why he doesn't understand how something like this could happen. He asked her to let him go, but she held on to him tighter and refused. She is not letting him go. She asked him to make a promise. If it turns out that the future her really did just have a change of heart, then she'll apologize to him and leave him alone. But if there was something else going on, then give her a chance. What? Isaac asked. Estella stated, she is going to look into everything that the future her was doing. It'll be her mistake if it turned out the future her just has a change of heart. He asked, so what if there is a reason she changed? Is that all? She said she is being serious. No matter how much she thought about it, she doesn't believe she would hurt him and the kids that much for such a petty reason. Isaac pulled away from her grasp and answered that she did. How long will she make him look like a fool? She cannot just throw stones into a still lake and expect them not to cause ripples. He is not someone she can just toy with and cast aside once she decides she is tired. Estella explained that's not what she meant. Isaac told her, does she have any idea how big those ripples she created were for him? Whether it was a chance of heart or something else, he doesn't care. But fine, he will concede and let her do this? He brushed through his hairs and said she could confess as many times as she wanted. Because at the end of the day, it's not the 19 years old Estella's fault. But in exchange, stop casting stones. She should try not to get any closer to him. She'll only end up getting hurt. Estella retorted, he can do what he wants. Because she is stubborn and she is going to do what she wants to. With that, she ran off and slammed the door. Isaac went up to the door and contemplated whether to go in or not. After a moment, he turned around and walked away. As he turned his back to the door, Estella swung the door open and yelled for Isaac not to think about sleeping in another room. He is not running away from this. Isaac turned around and said, when has he ever tried running away from this? She nagged, isn't that what he was doing right now? If she were him, she'd figure out if it really was just a change of heart. She'd squeeze out alimony and housing costs and every last cent she could. If she were him, she would turn her into a beggar and send her running from the country. Why is it all he does is put up with her? Doesn't he hate her? Isaac instinctively replied, he didn't. She asked why? He shouted, because I love her. And they both came to a silent, surprised pause. Isaac shyly explained, because he loved her. It's over. Because he didn't want to see the woman he loved ruined like that. Estella's heartbeat sped up. Da bump. Da bump. She embarrassingly told him not to get the wrong idea. She would never. Before she could finish, Isaac said he's going to sleep in a different room. She agreed, that's fine, if that's what he wants. Inside the bedroom, the maid asked if His Grace is not coming. Estella told the maid they decided to sleep in separate rooms for tonight. The maid thought things between them had gotten better. Estella complained, she doesn't know. She has no clue how things ended up this way. The maid told Estella it must be vexing if even Her Highness doesn't even know. All of them working in the manor are eagerly awaiting for her and Lord Isaac's reconciliation. Estella sighed and said she felt the same way too. She asked the maid, Mila, since Mila knew her since she first had a crush on Isaac. Does Mila think she treated Isaac too poorly? Mila tried answering in the best way she possibly could. There were times she was surprised, but she figured there must have been something going on that she didn't know about. The maid stated, there were times she saw that when the kids were asleep, she would sneak into their room. Estella questioned if that's really true. Mila explained, she is telling Estella this because she lost her memories, but she thought it was odd. Sneaking into their room while they slept, watching over them, patting their heads. It was affection she usually doesn't show them, and were keeping it a secret. She thought it was very unusual. Why would someone who loves her children so much go so far out of her way to pretend she didn't? Estella pondered, so what Lucy said was true. There has to be something else to this. She asked Mila who she was closest to. Mila told her that there wasn't really anyone in particular. She was close to the madam at Rodonia's salon. Madam? Delaran? Estella questioned. Mila answered yes, the one from Italy. Her Highness handed over of Rodonia salon herself. Estella questioned anxiously, she gave over the salon. Mila confirmed yes, she handed the salon over to that woman. It was the talk of town, the fact that the Meshans' biggest salon was handed over to a foreigner, without so much as a peep from Her Highness. Estella contemplated, if Madame de Larin were a man, word would have spread about him being a lover. But then again, why her? Not even the closest relationship, but to just gave the salon. Come to think of it, She knew about the men and their gifts. Perhaps she was playing middleman of some sort. She seemed perplexed when Estella told her not to bother any more about the jewels brought by the men. Estella was enlightened and pumped her fist up, scaring Mila. She thought she should have paid closer attention. After all, there was a saying that what you look for is within reach. Estella told Mila to send a word to invite Madame Delar in there tomorrow. She is certain that Madame must know something. Mila seemed to be pondering on something, which caused Estella to ask if there is anything else she hasn't told Mila to keep a secret. Mila stated, other than that. Estella did not let anyone into the study, that she even cleaned the study herself, and also to keep this a secret as well. Isaac was standing outside the door listening to the conversation between Estella and Mila. He sighed and remembered the piles of love letters in Estella's study room. He opened one to read the content and was disappointed. Reminisced of their past, the growing family, Isaac scolded himself. He should not have loved her. Estella had yet another restless night. She saw the older her again, reading a book on a couch. The young Estella sat on the next couch next to her older self and asked again if the older her will still refuse to hear me. The older Estella replied that she will need to figure it out herself. The young Estella questioned frustratingly, and why must she do that? The older Estella replied, she is such a silly girl. If she looked for herself told by other people, she will not find the real her. The young Estella stood up huffing and puffing. Silly girl? The older Estella answered, I cannot believe how immature I was. The young Estella questioned, then what makes the older her so great? Scarring Isaac and the kids with harsh words? She summoned the young her to the future because the older her failed at something, isn't she? Young Estella grabbed the book from older Estella and demanded older Estella to stop playing dumb and pay attention. After a moment of stalemate, older Estella stated how honest and immature young Estella is. And yet, those are often unexpected weapons. Young Estella needed to try to remember that's the only way to save everyone. She cannot say anymore. Young Estella asked why not. Just as older Estella started a sentence, Estella jolted awake in reality. Nana put the water basin on the table and shouted, oh my goodness. I'll go get the doctor. Estella grabbed her hand and told her that it's fine. Nana asked if she was really okay. Estella stated she doesn't remember a single thing. In her dream, someone said something to her, but she doesn't remember. Nana felt relieved when she heard it was a dream, that Estella should get going. In the glass house, Estella and Isaac sat across from each other sipping tea. Isaac asked, she was wearing the dress she wore for guests. Estella answered yes, she asked to meet the madam from Rodonia's salon. He remained quiet with an uneasy expression. She reasoned she heard that she used to be close to her, so she thought the madam would know what she was up to. Isaac stated he understood. The children were playing near them as they chatted. A moment later, Mila came by and apologized for interrupting them, but Madame Delar has arrived. Estella thought, oh, what such timing. She excused herself and told Isaac that they can continue to have tea later. As she walked away, Lucy hugged her from behind and asked if she was meeting someone. She gently rubbed Lucy's face and walked away. Watching her mother walk away without answering her, she asked her papa why Mama didn't say anything. Isaac explained that Mama is just going to meet a friend. The children were quick to smile and hoped that their Mama would come back quickly so they can play. In the guest room, Mila served tea to Estella and Madame before excusing herself out of the room. Madame sat across Estella, looking nervous, but Estella didn't waste time at all. She went straight to the point and asked, Delar, who are you? Excuse me? Madame asked. Estella stated, as the owner of the Rodonia salon, she must have already heard that she lost her memory. Rumors from various people gossiping about the princess had lost her memory, and she's quite different from before. She got into a huge accident and is recovering in bed. All sorts of rumors in the salon, some even of the princess fall out with Isaac. Madame looked nervous, but her expression hasn't changed. Estella guessed that maybe she had not heard of the rumor. Estella then confirmed to the madam that she really lost her memories. Madame did not look surprised, which Estella questioned. Madame asked how she can help Estella today. Estella stated she hoped that she might know very well how she was like. What is their relationship exactly? And she heard that she bought the Rhodonia salon and then handed it over to Madame. Madame confirmed that was indeed true. And why is that? Estella questioned. Madame said she cannot say it. Flustered, Estella asked why not. Madame stated because it was an order from Her Highness, Estella herself. Estella made her take a vow to never reel to Her Highness under any circumstances that Her Highness must learn for herself. Estella stated as if she knew this would happen. Madame bowed and apologized for not being able to say it and not being of further assistance. In hindsight, Madame guessed that idiot of a junk won't be of immediate use. She should let them know how to hold off on the plans for the time being. Estella asked Madame how she seemed like to Madame. Madame replied with honesty, someone worthy of respect. She may not be able to tell Estella everything, but every time she remembers something, she can be of help. Estella apologized for summoning Madame there, but she had to leave so soon. The steward will escort her out. She should get a rest on the way. Madame told Estella she was fine. She was glad to see Her Highness. It's been a while, so Her Highness should come by Rhodonia. Who knows? The visit might jog her memory. Madame gave Estella an invitation and stated that this is the couple's banquet this year and will be held at Rhodonia. Other noble women with whom she was close to will also attend, so she thinks it may be a good event. She understood that patching things up with Her Highness's husband is of utmost priority. But she hoped Her Highness could come. After Madame left, Estella sat back down, feeling frustrated. She knew Madame definitely knew something, but it doesn't seem like she's willing to tell her anything, letting her find it out on her own. Why? This. The dream. Why can't someone just tell her already? How frustrating. Looking out the window back at the estate, Madame's carriage trotted away. A man sat across, questioned if things did not go well with the princess. Madame stated, it's as she had predicted. It's bad. Well, at least, the princess didn't regress further. They should put a halt to the plans for now. Tell the others. The man stated he understood, but they need to provide some sort of timeline for the sake of the Unity's sanity. All Madame can hope for is that she reclaims her memories soon or that she figures things out some other way. The man asked if she was feeling nervous. Though as expected, and they've been embracing themselves, it still makes Madame anxious that Her Highness was so oblivious. The man asked nonchalantly, why not just spill the bean? Madame scolded, never. If he ever says anything to the princess, she will cut off his tongue. Him, as the steward, that alone made her nervous. The steward calmed Madame that she does not need to be so threatening. He had no idea also. Such would be a violation against the rules. Madame reported that Her Highness was hanging on to the last thread of hope. If she failed this time too, she'll be a mess, which they both already know as they thought of the older Estella. She asked if she seemed to get along with her husband. The steward shook his head and said they cannot. They're both so stubborn and frustrating. If they at least knew that Bertrand was the common enemy, things between them wouldn't be so bad. Madame reminded that she said don't intervene. It's for Her Highness' best interest. The steward and them all needed to uphold the rules. The steward complained angry, arg, those stupid rules. Does God play by the rules? Madame hit the steward simultaneously and scolded, God? You make me laugh. Putting your head up high all because of some foolish humans? Don't you forget, our loyalty lies with Princess Estella. We belong to her.